Hi, I'm here to talk about my voting policy and why it will help future voting generations with a more accessible and a more easier and friendly form of voting. Now, the key component to this voting policy is to have a government ran website that will be under a .gov. This would help by le- making it harder for hackers to go into a website and changing our voting data. Now, voters will be able to log in a website and vote for the candidate by three different ways. They would either be able to use one, their driving license number, two, their passport number, or three, their social security numbers. Using these three options gives the voters the freedom to use any one of their desired logins. Now, if a person does not have either one of these three logins, then this person can be presumed as someone who has not entered into this country legally, and this would bar them from voting. And this will keep the integrity of our system and also benefit us further by helping poll locations in major cities from being congested and having not enough time for everyone to vote in their individual polling location. Now, this website will be accessible either by computer or phone, and since our internet outreach is going to more and more locations of the United States, this makes it a universal PAN where everyone has access to this website. Now, the website would be the same format as a college registration, where there would only be a limited time for people to vote. Where, for example, there may be an extensive amount of days where people can log into the website and go to vote. That way, after the poll registration or poll voting closes, people will no longer be able to input their information, and this will keep our society free from lag voting and any type of tampering to the number of votings that happen through the website. And this would be beneficial because since last year there's presumably a Russian hacking into our voting, well, this would bar and lower that risk of hacking into our voting data so our elections can maintain their form of legitimacy. Now, there would still be voting locations open for the public. Voting locations will be open to the public for only those counties that have a population of less than 500,000 people. And this is beneficial in two different ways. The first way is beneficial is by those counties who have 500,000 or less people are more subjugated to not having internet connection in their area. With this, counties with that amount of population would still have polling locations since those locations are not subjugated with tampering and other forms of demeaning ways to alter our voting data. And secondly, this would help prevent major cities making it difficult for voters to go out and vote. Since, for example, in Houston, there's surplus of 5 million people, some polling locations just have too many people trying to go vote at once, and not as many people can go and dedicate their time to voting, thus leading to a congestion in the voting poll locations, and thus leading to people not being able to cast their votes. And so, with the new website that can be installed, people will now have a form of voting that they can do it from the safety of their own homes and or from their smartphones. And this, I believe, can be very beneficial to what our democracy is going to come to, since technology is coming more and more into our everyday lives. By keeping the poll locations open, people who are not as tech savvy in those smaller counties who still may have internet and just choose to do it over their smartphone or computer, those who are not as tech savvy can still go out and vote how they regularly do, since they are not endangering any process of the voting. As well as by creating a website and eliminating all those polling locations in a major city would also be more cost effective, since major cities such as New York, Houston, Dallas, Chicago would not have to open up several dozens of polling locations just so all of their citizens can go vote. And this will be very beneficial to our country. This process would also help people who are under subject with the voter ID laws, because if they have a expired driver license, then they can just use their passport, or they can use their social security number to vote with instead, and that would enable them to vote, thus causing more and more people to vote because they are no longer being oppressed by the voter ID laws. Also, this would prevent different states from creating a stricter ID law, since there's no way you can get more strict on this policy, because it only allows people who have either one of the three options open to vote with, and this can leave policymakers with more time to look at different legislation. Additionally, once the voting time has expired, the entire site should close down so it can restrict people from tampering with the website and tampering with the votes. This would create a better security for voting and prevent any type of tampering with the votes. Now, another thing that we can enact in this policy is to increase social responsibility for voters to go vote. Now, one thing that we can enact in this policy is to require them to pay a small fine if they do not vote within a given time period for major elections only, since making voters vote for every single election would be unnecessary and be unusual and would create a lot of havoc. So, with a fine that if they do not vote is would be beneficial to our economy in several ways, because one, it would force people to go out and vote for major elections, increasing voter turnout, since we have a history of our voter turnouts not coming out as the percentages as it should be. As well as it would also help the economy, because those fines that people would find would go towards government facilities and government projects that can help fund those things. And that is what my policy entails. And I think there is some room to improve, but it would be the most beneficial for our country. Thank you.